It's time for another episode of The Oil Stream with Dustin Nielsen and Tom Gazzola, presented by Popeye's Louisiana Kitchen.
Happy Friday, everybody, and welcome to another episode of The Oil Stream. Nielsen and Gazzola back with you once again, heading into a back-to-back set of games here for the Oilers, brought to you by Popeye's Louisiana Kitchen. Nothing says a great meal 2 nights in a row like Popeye's chicken sandwiches Friday and Saturday for a little bit of a later set of Oilers games. You pick it up, 19 locations in Edmonton and the surrounding area, all available on DoorDash, Skip the Dishes, and Uber Eats. Tommy, what's up, buddy?
Not much. That's a great idea, actually, for Din Dins tonight. I think maybe I'll get that, a little side of mac and cheese. You know what I like to do?
That sounds delicious.
When I go to the Popeyes on 109th,
Yeah.
I'll get the mac and cheese. I don't eat there. I'll have it. I've eaten there like in store, like
Take
once.
it home usually, though?
Yeah, I live so close. And I like to put a little hot sauce in my mac and cheese. I have Valentina. It's my favorite hot sauce right now.
Really? So you bring it home and you put hot sauce in it?
And pepper.
And pepper, like just regular pepper?
Cracked pepper. I like cracked pepper.
Oh, cracked pepper. Look at you, you fancy pepper boy. Even at home, you're a fancy pepper boy.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Very
Thank
interesting,
you.
Tommy. Yeah, no, that's, I use a salt and pepper shaker at home, and that's as fancy as we get in the Nielsen household, buddy. Not going to lie.
It works. It works,
Yeah.
man. Buying peppercorns is a pain in the ass.
Yeah, so you buy the peppercorns and you put them in your thing, and then,
It's
yeah.
fun. Yeah. Or you could be
It sounds
like
very
one of-
fancy.
It's not really, but you could be one of those people that are a bit much, and they get like the 3-foot long pepper cracker grinder from
The
Costco.
huge thing.
Yeah, like they had those. I was at Costco and I was looking at it like, no way. And it looks like they sold quite a few of them. I'm like, there
It
are
takes 2 people
out
to
there.
use that thing.
Yeah, you're like,
That's
I'm
like the Salt
there's-
Bay guy. Shh, whatever.
Why
he does,
is
yeah.
Salt Bay Guy such a big deal? I know his restaurants.
Is it just?
ridiculous.
I was gonna say I think it's just because he became a meme, but like if that
Yeah.
dude being on the field at the World Cup after the
Right.
celebration, I don't understand that for the life of me.
That's a weird one, FIFA. That's a weird one.
He probably paid somebody off at FIFA to be down there. That's probably what ended up happening. Yeah. All right. So game day versus the Sharks. We got McDavid's birthday. We're talking a little 11 and 7. Talk some Broberg and Bouchard as well. Oil Stream slick pick for the game tonight. We'll get into that. Boston Pizza Appetizer. Lots of stuff on the go here today with the Oil Stream. If you're watching on the live stream on YouTube or on Twitter, make sure you subscribe to the podcast. Just search the Oil Stream on all your podcasting platforms. And you can also ask any questions. You got any questions? Fire them over just in the Say Something section there on Twitter. Pop in, ask us a question, and we'll try to get to a few of those as well. Tommy, they took care of business against the Ducks. The Ducks are brutal. Oilers have over 100 shots against the Ducks now in 2 games this year. San Jose's not a good team either, but this should be a stiffer test than the one we just saw from the Ducks, right?
Of course. I mean, Anaheim's hapless. And you look back to the loss that the Oilers had against them on December 17th, and you go, my goodness, how does that happen? But that's in the past now. So they atoned, and that was good. Like, they took care of business. Like you said, TCB. More of the same tonight, Dusty. Yeah, San Jose is a better team, slightly, not by much, but you're not going to be able to let the bad habits seep in, and you don't want the flybys, or as Matt Cassian calls them, the TV turns. Like, that can't happen tonight. You need to go after this San Jose team the same way you went after the Ducks the other night, and get these 2 points. Make sure that you get them in the bank by the end of the night, and then the big one is tomorrow night against the Golden Knights. But you can't look past the Sharks. You have to take care of the task at hand. More of the same, and that recipe should lead to success. But I thought that was a good bounce back. But I'll throw this little wrinkle in there, Dusty, is like usually this team this season, one of the few things that they are consistent at is after a bad loss or a poor performance, they generally bounce back strong. They did that with a relatively easy night on Wednesday, but how do they carry that momentum forward? Momentum is something this team has rarely this season managed to let bleed into the next game. It's bizarre.
Okay, right to the comment section. Let's go here right away. Then we'll get to Connor McDavid. It's his birthday today. I want to talk about him a little bit. But AB Poker Inc. on Twitter says, and this was from two guys and a goalie yesterday. Thanks for checking out all this stuff. Nielsen Media and Entertainment appreciates it. Gager thinks one player will not fix this team. I am interested in Tommy's take on Gager's statement. Gager yesterday and two guys and a goalie, I asked him, does a trade for one player fix what ails this team right now? And Gager said, no, it doesn't. Tommy, where do you come out on that?
Yeah, I don't disagree with Gager at all. And I don't think Evander Kane is the knight in shining armor. Like, I think Evander Kane will absolutely make the team better when he does come back. But where is his wrist at in terms of mobility, and where's the healing at? I know he's been called a freak, a physical specimen and a physical freak by people on the Oilers staff, and he's pushing himself. So that's great. And he's going to play sooner than later, it seems like. Fantastic. I don't know what kind of player he's going to be when he comes back, just because of how severe that injury was. I don't think he's the knight in shining armor, but he does make the team better, gives it some swagger, all that good stuff. So that'll help. The trade for a defenseman, which will inevitably happen, I don't know if that's going to necessarily fix all. It'll plug a hole, which is
it'll help
plague this team. But I think yeah. So I agree with Gager to answer the question. And then the other thing too is so many guys, especially on the back end this season, have not played up to expectations.
They need to play better. Yes,
they need to play better. It's you're going to get some help from your GM at some point. He's going to improve this roster and tweak it here and there. But a lot of this has to come from within. A lot of the problems have been internal, self-induced, as we've said for a long time. So I think you're going to have the added bonus of a Kane coming back. To what extent of health, we shall see. And then whatever defenseman or other player that gets brought in at some point closer to the deadline, perhaps, will obviously boost this club. But I think it is an internal thing. Just like how these guys have caused the problems, these guys are going to have to fix the problems. Simply put, not enough guys have lived up to expectation, especially on that blue line.
Yeah, it's been a little bit of a disappointment, that's for sure. So anyway, thank you very much for the question. And hey, if you're watching on the live stream, feel free to ask a question right now. If you're listening to the podcast later, I guess you're kind of shit out of luck. But you can always just tweet at us at Nielsen TSN 1260 or Tom Gazzola and ask us a question over there. Let's get to your Boston Pizza appetizer. And happy hour, of course, every day from 2 to 5, and then again from 9 until close. And join us on Tuesday, January 24th at the Kingsway location for a live taping of the Oil Stream, which should be a lot of fun. Once again, can't wait to do that. But happy hour, if you're looking for a beverage this afternoon, it's a Friday afternoon, go check it out, 2 to 5 today, and then again from 9 until close. You want to watch the game somewhere tonight, go check it out at a Boston Pizza Lounge. There's a bunch of them across the city. So it's Connor McDavid's birthday today. He turns 26 years old, Tommy. And
old man.
I have to ask, he's 26, and as you get to that 26, you look at all the points that you've accumulated by the time you turn 26 years old. And when you do that with Connor McDavid, he's at the all-time great level. I mean, the guys who I think had more were Wayne, Mario, Dale Howardchuk, who is one of the best teenagers in the history of the National Hockey League, and I think Steve Yzerman. Those are the only four guys who have more points than Connor McDavid by the age of turning 26 years old, which is just insane. So, when they drafted him and leading up to that draft, generational talent. But has he been even better than we might have expected going back to that draft when they won the lottery and took him first overall?
Outstanding. Happy birthday, Connor. New socks are on the way, by the way. I'm just kidding. But yeah, individually he has been, and it's incredible to see the lofty accomplishments he has achieved. And I think it speaks to him being the next evolution of hockey player. Mario, Wayne, I think Bobby Orr is on the list a little bit below Connor. Those are guys that kind of changed how we looked at hockey players, and it opened up others in the game of hockey to different types of styles and stuff. And I think McDavid is that of the new era of hockey player. And so to see him up there is something to behold. It's incredible. We get to see him do some amazing things. And I think the detractors of McDavid will say, hey, all of that's great, but the guy has no rings. Those other guys had rings at this point. Well, Mario, it took him till 91. He was drafted in 84. So, 7-8 years.
Right around this time, yep.
Yeah, we're at that point with McDavid. Yzerman, it took him till 97 to get a Stanley Cup ring.
For sure.
It definitely took him longer, and there was a lot of turbulence there and ups and downs in his first dozen.
And then he went on a great run.
Absolutely. And then, Gretzky's Gretzky, and so Howard never had the chance to win a Stanley Cup, but this guy is amazing to watch. It's the things he does, the goal he scored against Anaheim, another beautiful example of what he's able to accomplish. And so, I think he has exceeded individually what we expected. I think he would be ahead of Steve Yzerman on that list if he hadn't broken his clavicle in that first season. I think he'd be around 805-ish points, safe to say. But at some point, and he said it the last couple of years, this has to convert into a big fat ring on his ring finger and that big, beautiful silver trophy that they hand out at the end of the season.
Talked about it on my show this morning with Rashog, and that was like McDavid, especially this season, but I'd say, and I know he didn't win the Hart last year and all that stuff, but I'd say for the last couple of years, McDavid has separated himself from even the other elites, right? Yeah. It's Patrick Mahomes at quarterback in the National Football League. He separated himself from his peers, even though there's some very good peers. Mahomes this year, all-time great passing season. Like it was phenomenal. And there's not many guys like that in sports. And when you have that, you have to be able to build a champion because you have the biggest advantage. Like the Oilers right now not only have the biggest advantage in the league in Connor McDavid, the biggest cheat code in the league, they might have the biggest cheat code in North American professional sports right now. Like you have to be able to deliver on this, and you're starting to get to words where you could be closer to the end, depending on what happens, than you are at the beginning right now, which I can see why Oilers fans are justifiably saying you have to be all in from probably from a year or two ago to the end of this McDavid contract, because if you have a generational talent, can't deliver him the pieces to win a championship, and can't deliver him the pieces to want to stay any longer, man, we're talking all-time sports fail.
Fair. I'll say one thing about that. Like, I don't think he and Leon were very happy with the way things went at the end of last season. Whatever anger or frustration they may have had, that was gone away. But obviously this year has been interesting to say the least. But what other iconic player in their prime in any sport has had so many people from other fan bases around their respective league wanting them to fail and for that franchise to have to lose that iconic player? Like, it's incredible. I'm from here. I covered this team. I worked for it. And I like to dump on the team when they deserve to be dumped on. Don't get me wrong. But it's kind of ridiculous how people just shit all over the Oilers and Edmonton every time this team has a little dip in play and doesn't meet the results. Now, it's obviously very frustrating when this team isn't an elite team 43 games into the season with the type of team that they've put together here. But the desire and the trolling that comes from all over North America towards Edmonton and the Oilers for wanting this guy and Leon to leave at the end of their contracts, it's just bizarre. And I don't think it's going to happen. But no other player like this do people go, I can't wait till Crosby and his contract is up so he gets the hell out of Pittsburgh. Like, isn't that something? Like, it's just unbelievable. It's something,
but I understand why. And the why is because no other team in professional sports has had the first overall pick, 4 times in 6 or 7 years or whatever it was. Like, the Oilers have been granted every advantage that the National Hockey League can grant you, with the exception of the tax breaks down in Florida and Dallas and some of these other places, which is probably one of the main reasons that they haven't been able to build. It's one of the reasons why they haven't been able to build a roster like some of these other teams. Yeah. So I I mean, I can kind of see why people would look at that, because like, well, how much more do you need? Like you had 3 first overall picks. One of them's gone. One of them was a bust. The Nuge is around forever. And then you got McDavid again. I think the moment the Oilers won that lottery, that started right then, because how in the world can they win another lottery when they've pissed away 3 first picks already, right?
It is incredible. And they have been one of the most futile sports organizations in North America over the course of the last 30 years, bar none. Granted, they finished 3rd in their division 3 times in a row, went to a conference final, and they're not having the greatest year, but they're right in the thick of things with a couple of wins.
Like if Patrick Mahomes was on the Cleveland Browns, people would be saying,
good point,
I'd like to see Patrick Mahomes go somewhere else. You know what I mean? Like,
that's a good point. But,
I think if they're looking for comparisons, that would be it, right?
How quickly people just go right to that conversation. Screw you, Edmonton. He's going to want out. How dare you ruin such a player?
It doesn't help it doesn't help. It's not necessarily ideal, right? Like when other guys leave and or go have success somewhere else. I mean, it's easy to pile on, I guess. It's easy to pile on. That's your Boston Pizza Appetizer. Happy hour 2 to 5, and again from 9 until close. Go ahead, Tommy.
It is fun to watch, though. It's fun to watch and see all the comments, though.
He's got to the point where, I mean, he makes the NHL look easy. It sounds insane, and it sounds extremely disrespectful to everybody else, which is not what it's supposed to come across as. But he makes the NHL look easy. I can't believe I'm saying that. I didn't say it about Crosby. I didn't say it about Ovi. I don't think you could have possibly said that about any player since Mario Lemieux. Like that's the level that Connor McDavid's at.
It is incredible. It really is. So enjoy it, embrace it, and you know what? Maybe the peanut gallery will quiet down if they put together a nice run.
No chance. No chance. If the Oilers win the cup, everybody goes, well, you were gifted the greatest player of a generation. Of course you won the cup. Should have won 3 more. So, and there'll be Oilers fans who say that too, because that's how it is. That's why it's so fun being in the market, man. It's good. All right, Tommy. So 11-7 setup. To me, it always is when you don't have enough good players at certain positions, you go to 11-7. That's how I've always viewed it. Maybe this is a little bit differently, but if they are they doing the 11-7 to help the blue line, or are they doing the 11-7 because they don't like the way some of their forwards are playing? Like, what do you think is the main driver behind the 11-7 from Woodcroft?
Yeah, my sense is that the lack of consistency on the back end, you throw in another blue liner and you give them a shot just in case, kind of to be like a safety blanket. And we saw Marcus Niemelainen play 3 minutes in back-to-back games, and then they throw Desharnais in, and it's a nice soft part of the schedule where you can get a guy his first taste. Those other guys that are sitting, you know, Fogle had the one game where he got a bit of a wake-up call. Shore is a perfect world, your 13th forward. Holloway, good to see him getting a chance, but I think they did it to get Desharnais in as well, to help out the back end, just to give that extra option in case one guy's not going, because as we've seen consistently, there's been 1, 2, sometimes 3 defensemen on a night-to-night basis not playing up to expectation. That's my take on it. I don't think it's necessarily the forwards that are being scratched that they just detest and don't want in the lineup. It's just their defense has been so bad this year and inconsistent. It's like, well, we need another guy in there because one of these guys or 2 of these guys on the back end, it's supposed to be a regular, playing much better, seems to have a dud of a game every couple. So that's my sense of it, at least.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's probably fair. 2 other things I want to get to. Broberg and Bouchard. So, you know, it's been talked about for a long time in this market. We did it on the show a few days ago, the Chychrun and 2 firsts and Broberg and stuff. And I was a little surprised by the number of people who were like, hey, Dusty, would you just do a first and Bouchard instead for Chychrun? So, I mean, we said at the beginning of this season, you specifically laid it out there that you're going to have to be patient with Bouchard. He's a young defenseman. There's going to be ups and downs. Obviously, offensively, had a great year last year. This year, offensively, it hasn't been great. He doesn't get a ton of power play time or anything either. But, Tommy, is the bloom off the rose here a bit for Bouchard, I've been seeing much more negative things being said about Bouchard now than I ever have since his young Oilers career started.
Yeah, well, he's not getting that cover of rookie defenseman or first NHL season, at least full NHL season. And so the expectation with how well he performed in the latter half of last season and into the playoffs, that was the bar that was set, right? It's like, okay, you can do that. Now you need to do that consistently. Well, the problem is, especially with second-year guys, blue liners, like we talked about going into the year, it doesn't always work out that way. That trajectory doesn't always have that smooth line ascending up. Like it's up, down, and it's been down for Bouchard this season, predictably, unfortunately. And, patience has worn thin, and I think a lot of it has to do with the team performance and where they stand in the overall rankings in the Western Conference and Pacific Division. If this team was second in the Pacific, beating divisional opponents with a winning record on home ice, this Evan Bouchard discussion and heat and detest wouldn't be anywhere near where it's at right now. But because this team has lacked consistency and been so poor in some of its efforts, and Bouchard has been at the forefront of those games, I think the spotlight has shone on him, and people are getting pissed off at him, forgetting that he's only in his second full year and that he's only 150 games into his career. There's that 300 game threshold for defensemen where they should
another
find
full
themselves.
Season, essentially.
Basically, yeah. So I'm sure his confidence isn't where it needs to be. His play is not where it should be, but I think it will come around, and having patience at a time where your team is hanging on to a wild card spot right now, it's tough to maintain. So I understand where the fans are at, but to just throw him away because of 40 bad games, I think would be silly.
Let's get to your Well, before we get to your oil stream, Slick Pick, what's the latest on Kane, Tommy? Like by this time next week, could we see Evander Kane back with the Edmonton Oilers?
He keeps pushing, and I know that the Oilers were kind of saying when they come back from the break after February 6th would likely be the best time to get him back in, so it doesn't creep into
That's
the
still
4
quite a
months.
ways out, right? Yeah,
exactly. But because of how he's progressed, and I was told he's a freak physically, and his desire to get back out there. The last conversation I had, it was like, well, maybe we could get him into one of those games against Columbus or Chicago before the break, depending on how he's progressing and what the medical team says. So if he plays one of those 2 games, I wouldn't be surprised, maybe even both. He's been wanting to, and physically being able to, and getting the green light are 2 different things, though.
When he comes back, do they basically have to go to that shorthanded roster again?
Unless
pretty
they
much,
trade
right? Like
somebody.
nothing has changed. Yeah, I mean, if they don't trade somebody, would they that's pretty much what they'd have to do again, right?
Yeah, exactly. Now with the way Fogle and his turbulent season has been, I know he had that injury. Maybe that opens up a deal there. I don't know what the market would be like for him, but the easy answer still is probably JP. People don't like the idea of sweetening up a JP deal, but that's $3 million for a guy that's not giving you a lot on a night-to-night basis. He's been better lately. Good on him. But you need to find a solution, and he's an upgrade. Evander Kane is over a Jesse Puljujarvi on any wing, right, left, whatever. Like,
not
big
close.
time upgrade.
Do you think there's any way they might get to a point here where they just waive Puljujarvi?
Interesting. I don't think so, but that would be interesting. That would create a shitstorm.
It pains me to even ask that.
I know.
But, since Kane went out, Mark's been up, fit in, Costin has arrived.
Yep.
So, I mean, I'd be very interested to see what they do to get that roster back to where it needs to be to fit Kane into it.
Yeah. I mean, he's
waive Fogle. I mean, one or the other.
He's been bounced to the 4th line, a week and a half ago or so, and it's not happening here. So it's a tough one, but anytime that name comes up, it's going to create chaos here.
So we'll see what happens on that front. Let's get into your oil stream Slick Pick. This is a pretty easy one. Connor McDavid's birthday. Somebody tweeted into the show today, said on his last birthday, he didn't have a point. They lost to the Canucks 5-3. I'm going to go right now. You can get it at Cool Bet. I think it's minus 107. Connor McDavid to score a goal. That's it. Not 2-3 points. Just Connor McDavid to score a goal tonight on his birthday against the San Jose Sharks at minus 107. That is your Oil Stream slick pick. Go to coolbet.com right now. Click on that Oilers game. There's only 3 games tonight, so it's not a busy schedule. I'll have a lock shot play of the day a little bit later on. You'll be able to find on Twitter as well. But Connor McDavid to score on his birthday, minus 107. Tommy, do you think McDavid has the swag and power in the league to say, the day after my birthday, I want to play in Vegas and then not play again for 2 days after that? Because it feels like if they have a nice little Connor McDavid birthday celebration after a win in Vegas, sounds like a pretty good night.
Yeah, like they did back in 2018. I remember that. That was great. Right into the bye week. I do not think he has that persuasion, but it worked out nice.
Well.
I don't know for sure if they're staying overnight in Vegas or not. I'm assuming yes, given all the circumstances. And
don't play again until Tuesday.
Yeah, the persuasion and sway that McDavid has on the organization. It might be a nice night out somewhere along the strip after potentially 1 or 2 points for the team. And you could be assured that he'll be fired up. And by the way, good job on the slick pick the other night. That was kind of an easy one, but it all hit.
That one hit, yeah.
Yeah.
Man, that was that one hit almost in the first period. Like that thing was a no sweat slick pick. I love that. So
nice.
Keep it pretty simple tonight. Minus 107. And that will be Connor McDavid to score. Tonight, Tommy, you got the pregame show tonight. What time do you get rolling over on TSN 1260?
7 o'clock, hour and a half pregame show. It's one of those beautiful 8:30 starts again. Thankfully, it's on a Friday this time.
Yeah, that always helps. Stay up late, sleep in a little bit on Saturday, and then do it all again with the Oilers and Vegas. And if you're listening to the Oil Stream and you're heading down to Vegas to watch the Oilers this weekend, have fun. I'm very jealous. We were there. Eric and I were there with some listeners for the very first Oilers game at Vegas, and that was a fun trip. That was a fun trip, buddy. I'm not going to lie. That was a good time.
I was there. I unfortunately wasn't able to meet up with you guys, but what a town, man. What a town.
Oh, yeah. There was a lot of fun had on that trip. Tommy, get us out of here, buddy.
All right. Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, smash that thumbs up button. We're playing the algorithm game. Peace out. See you next week.